Especially in the morning, Jocelyn enjoyed strolling barefoot along the beach, feeling the warm sand on the soles of her feet. She didn't like wearing sandals, which would get covered in sand and make her steps crunch. Every morning, she left her home to head to her favorite spot. She often brought binoculars with her, through which she would watch the birds greeting the day in the clear sky, the fishermen returning from the sea, or a couple waking up to the sunrise. That morning, Jocelyn left home as usual, ready to take in the little world around her. But unlike other days, the young woman with long hair and tanned skin felt she wasn't alone. No, it wasn't the company of animals or the ever-blamed wind, which liked to play among the palm trees. This was a different feeling that made the hair on the back of her neck stand up. Unseen eyes were watching her. Unsettled, she raised her binoculars, searching for the intruder. Suddenly, a silhouette seemed to hide behind a large rock on the horizon, unsuccessfully, since the sun exposed its shadow. It was as if the intruder were painting their shadow on the rocky walls, as if the one following her was the shadow itself. Frightened, she hurried back home, cutting her walk short. Has happened to me this week. She confessed to her friend Thais that afternoon at the restaurant by the very beach. On an island, everything happens by the beach. How do you know? Have you seen anyone? I haven't seen anyone. Just shadows and that constant feeling that someone is watching me. Both fell silent, but they knew Jocelyn's sixth sense rarely failed her. Just recall how she knew from the beginning that that friend Vanessa was untrustworthy. The first moment Thais left Vanessa and her ex-boyfriend alone in a room while she ran some errands. The two had tangled up like a boa in a tree branch. It must be said that Thais' ex-boyfriend wasn't exactly a saint, nor was he on the list of devout, and Jocelyn had forewarned about that as well. After finishing their drinks, they decided to take a short walk to clear their minds of troubles and worries. Jocelyn, absent-minded as usual, left her purse at the bar. When she returned to retrieve it, she saw something unexpected. Beside her purse was a rose. At another time, it might have seemed a romantic gesture, but to Jocelyn, it felt more unsettling. No one could tell her who had left it there. The rose, then, was confirmation that, indeed, someone was watching her, turning the simple flower into a disturbing omen. She decided to leave it on the table. She returned to Thais, eyes wide and heart pounding, to tell her about the rose when suddenly Santiago appeared in front of them, greeting them cheerfully. Santiago's presence on the beach sparked suspicion between them, though neither dared to say it out loud. Still, they exchanged a look as friends do when silently saying, "Hey, what's he doing here?" Santiago had been a friend to both since school and had never shown signs of stalking women or giving roses. He was more a straightforward and charming man. Or had he changed? That night, Jocelyn and Thais decided to attend the summer party on the North Beach. Though they initially thought of going with their group of friends, Jocelyn preferred a more relaxed atmosphere, without having to explain why she was so nervous. Friends seem to always require explanations about one's life, as if they're surrogate parents. Lenient, yet always opinionated parents who, like biological ones, fret like hens over their chicks. But why worry anyone? After all, it's best to forget about everything if it's just silliness. Shadows and roses haven't killed anyone, right? So, why ruin the night? The two friends ordered some cocktails. They danced to the rhythm of the music, relieved to be enjoying themselves away from the unfamiliar eyes stalking Jocelyn. The night felt different. She sensed she had escaped. The shadows following her now were only her own. However, after a few hours, when Jocelyn had already let her guard down, Santiago appeared again, smiling with a couple of beers in hand. "Surprise," Santiago exclaimed. What would have otherwise been a joyful encounter this time only heightened Jocelyn's suspicions. "How did you know we were here?" she asked, without hiding her irritation. "I didn't know you were here," Santiago replied, surprised at her reaction, jokingly adding, "Have you been following me?" "Oh, please. I think it's you who's stalking me. Leave me alone, would you?" Jocelyn replied dramatically, convinced that the encounter was no coincidence. Santiago walked away, puzzled. Eyes and Jocelyn, meanwhile, finished their cocktails and left the party, unaware that they were indeed correct. Stalker was there, watching them from afar as they arrived at the party, and most disturbingly, witnessing the scene of Jocelyn confronting an innocent Santiago under the stunned gaze of the bystanders. Now, he watched them leave in a taxi. 5 minutes later, the stalker ordered one as well. Subscribe to find out how the story will continue, or read it now on the blog at escribemed.net.